If it is or if it ain't, it's going to come out. Good morning, everybody. It's your girl Miracle Sims, and you're listening to God, Sex, and Love, your daily dose of inspiration and juice. It is June the 14th, 2023, and today the topic is treasure hunters. Good morning, y'all, and happy Wednesday. I hope that you all had a great Tuesday. Mine was just fine. Yesterday, well, not too much happened, per se. I mean, well, it did, but it didn't. I had a meeting yesterday. I went ahead and started working on, my new client's book, y'all. You know, she's so excited. So I was like, hey, girl, you know, at the end of the day, you say you want to do it, let's go ahead and start doing it. So, we kind of got started with that yesterday. So to God be the glory for that. You know what I'm saying? It was good. A nice little session, a beginning session. After that, you know, I told you guys I signed NJ up for another class or another teacher. So he had his first class yesterday, and so it was interesting observing him with another teacher. He seemed more calm. He seemed more like, I guess, trying to figure things out and stuff. So that was interesting. I did get me a good nap in yesterday, y'all, but I had to lock the door. Those of y'all that listen to the after show, y'all know what I'm talking about. But yeah, I had to lock the door. But even when I did that, y'all, at some point when I woke up, next thing I know, this kid is knocking on the door. Mommy, I have something to tell you. I want to be with you. I'm like, kid, you ain't got nothing to tell me. You just trying to get in this room. So that happened. And then, you know, I had some more conversations and whatnot, and that's pretty much what yesterday looked like, in a nutshell. Yeah, I guess I'll be a little bit more busy today because I do have to leave the house and whatnot. But yeah, that's what happened yesterday. So let's get into this conversation, y'all. Treasure hunters. Well, I did go to sleep a little bit early yesterday. So, first of all, I woke up around like 10 something last night. And I made a note of that. I looked at the Strong's and the Bible verses centered around that. But this morning, okay, this is how I came to the topic today. Basically, I woke up this morning around the time of my alarm. So around 4-ish. I think I did try to snooze a bit and get up again around 4:30 or something like that. And you know, I listened to the prayer meditation and it was talking all about, you know, me being a work of art and stuff. And I was like, well, thank you, Lord, for that reminder. I know at some point it was having me to challenge myself to, it was like, you know, is there anything that you feel like the Lord has fallen short about you and things like that? And I'm like, no, I mean, I understand that, you know, I'm beautifully and wonderfully made. You know, I could joke about being short and things like that, but even that is a word, honestly, to me. I'm like, you know, small packages, you know, big spirit, small pack. I don't know. I mean, all of that is a word to me or whatever. So I think even the way I look or any of that type of stuff, you know, is a gift from the Lord. You know, He made me this way for a reason, you know. So, yes, I was reflecting on that this morning, but, you know, I still went through the prompts to, it was like, you know, well, give whatever that is to the Lord and ask Him, you know, to be able to see the beauty in, you know, how He made you, all this different type of stuff. And I'm like, so I went through the thing and I did it. And afterwards, you know, it was like, now listen and see what God, you know, has to say to you as an answer. And, you know, I was getting some, I guess, revelations or some things were standing out to me and whatnot. And, I guess one of the things, if I do share, is that that I may be encouraging and inspiring in ways that I don't even know, and I felt like I got some confirmation about that this morning as well. Like for example, one of my younger cousins, I saw, apparently she sent me a message on Sunday. So shout out to her, Destiny Hager. Look, you part of a word this morning. She sent me a message and was saying that, oh, cuz, I want to draw you again, X, Y, and Z. It'll be better this time. She's asking my permission to draw me. And she's drawn me, I want to say a couple of times, or at least once. And each time I'm like, I'm honored that you want to draw me at all, and everything like that. And so you have my permission anytime if you want to just use me as a muse. I don't know what it is or why she wants to draw me of all people, and things like that. But I'm honored nonetheless. And, she has my permission to do so. And when she sends me the image, I'm going to, shout it out and whatnot and, give her credit where credit is due, and I'm looking forward to working with her in some capacity at some point. So we'll see what the Lord do in regards to all of that. Um, but I guess that came to my mind this morning as I was thinking, like I said, after I listened to the prayer meditation and stuff, and it's like, I guess that was a little bit of confirmation that I'm inspiring to people in ways that I don't know. Even yesterday I was chit chatting with a friend of mine, and I'm trying to encourage her to let her know that, hey, man, I feel like you have support. I feel like, people will support whatever you do. Don't be discouraged about, anything. Because I feel like she's the type of person where she puts something out or she does something, people would be like eating it up or whatever the case is. And on one hand, I was explaining to her, on the flip side, I feel like a little bit different from that. And don't get me wrong, there's people supporting. Speaking of, man, shout out to the individuals that are supporting us monthly and stuff like that. Shout out to people that watch this thing on daily or listen to this daily, all of that type of stuff. I just don't know y'all. You see what I'm saying? That's the thing. Like, some of y'all don't tell me, you know what I mean? I know that I see the views and I see the stuff, but for the most part, I don't know who tunes in, right? Until someone says something, because I can't see anything but stats, right? And it doesn't make me no never mind, because my thing is, at this point in my life, I thank God for changing my heart and mind to be like, you know what? I'm going to stay consistent regardless, and stuff. So that's something that I had to grow to come to learn to do. But I say all that to say that, as I was encouraging her, I was trying to explain to her what I meant by, I feel like you have support in X, Y, and Z. And she's like, oh, well, you have support too. And I'm like, well, yes, but no at the same time. Like, it's just different. Like, it's different type of support. But anyway, what I'm saying is that, basically she started to talk about, I guess, how I have been encouraging her and X, Y, and Z. And I'm like, I mean, and I don't think lightly of that. I'm like, well, cool, and in some ways, maybe I have more one-on-one influence than bandstand grand influence. I have no clue, even this whole concept of what I'm doing here. Maybe people in 20, 30, whatever, or 40, 50, whatever, will be listening to this or hearing this or whatever. And I may never know. Who knows? I have no clue, y'all. But at the end of the day, right, it just behooves us to be obedient, and I felt like that was another thing that the Lord was showing me, that as I be obedient, or in my obedience, right, that is another beautiful thing that He has, I guess, done with me, for me, and through me, and whatnot. And I can see the fruit from that and everything. And so with that on my heart and mind this morning and whatnot, and getting those confirmations and things like that, I scrolled on social media a little bit, and I was seeing some stuff or whatnot. But ultimately, I came across this gentleman on Instagram, and I'm pretty sure I shared it on our page, on the God, Sex, and Love page, on Facebook and whatnot. But it was on Instagram, this post this gentleman did, and he was talking all about treasures and whatnot, and it really just stood out to me, because I felt like I saw something else as well that was talking about treasures. And so this idea of treasure hunt came into my heart and mind, and so I started to look that up. Now I looked that up in the there was no verses that I saw with that, so I just looked up treasure in general at openbible.info. Y'all know where I go. I hope y'all know at this point. um, and so I looked up treasure, and that's where my verses started to resonate and whatnot. Now the interesting thing is, y'all may see that the topic today is treasure hunters. That's because the Lord gave me that like right before I went live. I was getting ready to just make it treasure, since that's what the Bible verses, I came across. But I thought again about treasure hunt, and then I put treasure hunt, and then next thing I know, the Lord had put treasure hunters in my heart and mind. So treasure hunters is the topic today. That's how I got to it, and let's get to this conversation of treasure hunters. So let's get into these verses, y'all, because I mean I could go on and on, honestly. I mean, because we all know what the Bible has to say, but maybe we don't. So in the event that we don't know what the Bible has to say about this, let's get into some of the verses that stood out to me to share this morning. So Luke 12:34 says, "For where your treasure is, there will your heart be also." Whew, if I could pause right there, I know this is just one verse and y'all like, Miracle, you already talking. If I could pause right there, I feel like me and my husband have been having like conversations lately over the past week, and whatnot. And I know I've been sharing with you guys information. I may not have gone as hard as other people in regards to sharing the quote unquote conspiracies and the quote unquote things that I've been hearing over the past few years, especially since 2020, about the stuff that's going on behind the scenes and the people in higher up places that are making decisions that affect us and all this different type of stuff, right? But I know I've tried to share the things that I can, and I've tried to share places where resources where people can look on for themselves and, stuff like that, right? But we were having a conversation last week about the rich folks, right? And the people that are in these high positions and the ones that are like making these evil decisions, because again, I know I'm not the only one that's heard about, and they call it conspiracy, but listen, when you looking around and losing family members, or you seeing fully healthy people in the sports world, losing their life and whatnot after these, y'all know what happened and whatnot. You can't help but wonder, if there's some truth to the things that are being said in regards to 2020 and everything centered around that whole situation. And y'all know what I'm talking about. So, with that being said, I know, I think at some point my husband shared with me an article he came across where, I think she was a soccer player or volleyball player, something like that, I guess, lost her life during pregnancy. And I know that's a narrative that people are trying to push as well, like, oh, especially when it comes to black women. Oh, and it was one of those things that made me scared to be pregnant and whatnot, because you keep hearing that black women are dying when they have their babies and stuff, and forgetting the fact that, millions of black women before me birthed without hospitals, birth without, in their homes, all this type of stuff. And so forgetting that birth is a natural thing, and that's a whole nother conversation, and not trying to get too deep into it, but forgetting about that part and only hearing like the narratives that people are pushing about health and all these different things that, like I said, even made me nervous as a mom or whatever. Even had me going into the doctor's office thinking that I was going to see a clump of cells on the sonogram, and things of that nature, And like I said, I thought about that yesterday. I know I'm blending subjects right now, but basically, I thought about that. I want to say yesterday, the first sonogram that I saw, I was surprised to see my son, a little baby. It was maybe 6 weeks or something like that they told me I was, and he just looked like a little baby spinning around in the sonogram. I was expecting to see a clump of cells because that's what people say all the time, and stuff like that. I'm expecting to see just a couple of blobs or something. I don't know, so I see my surprise to see like a whole little baby, like head, arms, leg, like the whole little baby. But anyway, that basically I'm talking about that because, my husband showed me about this article about this, physically fit woman or whatever the case is that, I guess lost her life during pregnancy and, thinking that, It may have something to do with all the stuff that's been going on, without me saying it, without me saying it, and stuff like that. And it just made me think, like, man, like, you have all the money, right? These people up high, whatever, they got all the money, they got all the things, they got all the access, but then they make decisions like these that affect us, where we're losing our lives, or our family members are dying, and all these different type of things. And you're like, why would somebody be that evil? Like, is it? And I know my husband was like, well, people up there, with that, if they had that amount of money or whatever the case is, I guess their mindset is possibly that they don't want to lose what they got and stuff. And it's just, I mean, okay, you don't want to lose your millions, right? And so you make decisions that, benefit you. Like, I guess you make decisions that, people do this or that, and then they gotta, continue to go to the doctor and bring you more money, or whatever the case is. It's just sick. To be honest, that's my, honest opinion in this moment, that's just sick. And you guys can hold me accountable. Like, if I ever get all the riches, y'all can hold me accountable and be like, well, Miracle, remember when you said having all the money and making evil decisions is sick? You need to da-da-da. Like, by all means, because, yeah, at the end of the day, like, if you got all the money, like, why make decisions like that will, I mean, why not help people instead of making decisions where it's only going to line your pockets and like evil things that are only going to, like, just keep you and your family good, and then just forget about everybody else, like, oh, at your expense to the lower people, or lower income people, or however you want to look at it. But anyway, so I bring that all up to say that when it coincides with this conversation about treasures, right? Treasure hunters, right? We're out here. It's like trying to build the wealth, the generational wealth, and all that. And all that sounds good. I'm not knocking generational wealth. You know what? And now I thought about this morning, and I know I haven't really fully shared this with you guys, but I think maybe it fits this conversation, and I'll see what the Lord do in regards to how much to share. But I am a beneficiary of, I guess you would say, generational wealth to a certain extent, like, for example, there's land that, is in my name at this point. And to God be the glory for that, and everything like that. I know honestly, I didn't have anything to do with it outside of being born, and stuff. And I guess technically in losing my father, that's what ultimately got it passed down to me. And I'm grateful for it. I'm grateful for my, my grandparents. I'm grateful for, my father's siblings and whatnot that honored their parents' wishes and things of that nature. I'm glad to have been considered. All of that is beautiful. And, prayerfully I can continue the legacy, you see what I'm saying, like, and things like that, and that's a beautiful thing. But on the flip side, like, even when I was talking to my husband the other day, I just was like, would I have rather had my father versus the land? I think so. Like, I think I would have liked to have gotten to know him, or something, I mean, it's good to, be on this end as well, and stuff. But on the flip side, it's just, what do we value? You know what I mean? Like, what, like, having the land and stuff is cool. And now me and my husband, we try to figure out what we're going to do and all this stuff. And it's a beautiful thing. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's great. It's, you want to build upon what has been left to you and things of that nature. It's a beautiful thing. And I believe that, again, the Lord wants us to do that as well. I mean, he talks about, making sure you and your family and generations and all this type of stuff. Generational wealth and all this is great. I know, but this is a whole movement right now, right? People talk about getting to the bag, right? They're talking about, even this morning I saw this video about, like, granted, I'm sure the person is just trying to market their workshop, so nothing against the business aspect or whatever. Y'all know I'm an entrepreneur myself. I got some entrepreneurial endeavors, you know what I'm saying, and stuff. But it's just interesting. And I know this all comes from the very first verse that we just listened to right here. This thing that's telling us, where your treasure is, there your heart will be also. So I guess, again, like we talked about yesterday, we got to do a heart check at the end of the day. Like, again, what is your purpose of building all this wealth? For just you, or is it for you and your family? Or is it for, you know what I mean? And then not just thinking about that, but then at some point there's overflow and whatnot. And so what's to be done with that? Like, again, here I am. I'm not trying to puff myself up in any way or anything. I'm just trying to share y'all testimonies. At the end of the day, like, for example, I could go ham and be like, oh, telling the lady that wants to work on her book, oh, I can't do anything until you pay me a deposit. I can do that, and it's business, you know what I'm saying, and stuff like that. But on the flip side, I'm like, all right, well, listen, we've been talking every day. It seems like you excited about getting started. The least we can do is at least start recording, some sessions and whatnot. And I mean, hey, you do the deposit, whatever, whenever you can. I'm not tripping about it. At the end of the day, the Lord has been providing and stuff like that. Even this morning, I mean, I'm not trying to get too deep, but I got another book client that, basically has been paying on her book and whatnot. And the thing is, I'm not tripping about it. At the end of the day, hey, she want a book, she gonna pay for it. So I'm just waiting on whenever that's gonna be. And I'm like, hey, I'm here. I give grace and mercy as people have given to me. Because I just told y'all the other day, I've been working on a book for over a year now. And the artist and illustrator has been gracious to me. She, it hasn't been like, oh, I can't draw any pages until you give me all of it at one time. Like, it's never been that. It's been like, okay, I do a couple of pages here, a couple of pages there, we'll get it done eventually, and it's just extending to one another the grace and the mercy and all that type of stuff. And so it's just, as we build our wealth, right, and whatnot, I guess it's just important to, again, do the heart checks and see where your treasure is truly lining up. So that's what I'm getting. But hey, let's keep going, because that's just verse number 1. So here's another verse that stood out to me this morning, y'all. It's Luke 12:33. It says, sell your possessions and give to the needy. Provide yourselves with money bags that do not grow old, with a treasure in the heavens that does not fail, where no thief approaches and no moth destroys. Listen, I don't know if that's Pope this morning. We don't want to hear that. We don't want to hear that, because I don't think we value that. Like, I don't think we value these words. Either we don't believe them, that there's a treasure beyond what we have here. So that could be the thing. Or we just don't value the words of what the Lord is saying to us through the Bible, We're just like, again, we see the treasures here, right? And we see people winning with the bags and the money and all the things, right? And we aspire to be them and have that, right? And stuff like that and whatnot. So this whole idea of selling all of our possessions and taking care of the needy and all of that is like, what? What do you mean? Like, it's just one of those things where it's like, ugh. It's hard. It's a hard concept, and it does remind me of the rich man in the Bible, where the man was like coming to Jesus and whatnot, and Jesus was like, if you want to be perfect, this is what you need to do: sell your possessions, X, Y, and Z, come follow me. And the man turned the other way. You know what I'm saying? Because apparently he was very rich and had all, a lot of possessions and whatnot. And obviously he didn't want to get rid of his possessions and stuff. And I get it, Again, when you think, for example, who knows if he had a family, who knows what he had and whatnot, and stuff like that. So in those situations, we think about what's going to be more beneficial to ourselves and stuff. And I get it. But I think also there's balance, in regards to that as well. But hey, let's keep reading the Bible here, because maybe that'll give us more wisdom in regards to this, y'all. So then, let's see. We got Isaiah 33:6. It says, "And he will be the stability of your times, abundance of salvation, wisdom and knowledge. The fear of the Lord is Zion's treasure." So these are the things that are treasure at the end of the day. I know it's like, we think about, well, how is any of that going to take care of me and my family? Well, hey, I mean, if you really think about it, I'm sure it could, again, salvation, that's the next life and whatnot. But then when we think about wisdom and knowledge and whatnot, I think having wisdom and knowledge can benefit a family, At the end of the day, again, having the wisdom and knowledge of how to steward your funds, or whatever the case is, can benefit you and your family. right? To the, at least what 2 or 3 generations, what the Bible say, and then outside of that, you'll see how you'll be able to sell your possessions and help the needy, or do this or that to extend God's hands to people and whatnot, like, or be the eyes and hands or feet or whatever the case is of God to people and stuff. So yeah, I mean, there's great value in wisdom and knowledge, but we don't think so. When we compare it to money, right? We think like, oh, the money, X, Y, and Z, but people can get money all day long, and we see and hear stories about this all the time. People might win the lottery, or again, the stimulus is a great indication, right, of where you are. If you at the end of like the whole stimulus situation don't have any fruit, then that tells you, hey, I might need to learn how to be a better steward over funds. Like, I mean, hey, I myself went through a journey as well. Like I said, I told y'all, like, and I was actually telling my friend this yesterday. I feel like, there's things in the past where is not say triggering for me, but it's like something that I'm constantly reminded of to make better decisions now versus the way I did in the past. Like, I feel like I did okay in the past and stuff. But on the flip side, I felt like I had a lot of time in between the last time I had like a significant amount of funds and stuff, and then feeling like the time after that, like, man, you know what? I want to invest in this business endeavor or that business endeavor or whatever the case is, but I can't because I don't have the funds. And I would think back on the time when I did have the funds and feel like, man, you know what? Maybe I wasn't a good steward of what I had back then. And that challenges me now to be like, you know what? I'm going to try to my best to do better. I don't want to be in this place continually. Like, at the end of the day, for example, like, I look at my account, I'm like, okay, I done moved some funds here and there, I done did a little this and a little that, and stuff like that. But at least now I know that, okay, the funds that I had, or whatever, I've invested into my next book, right, for example. Or, I know that I have some things coming up this week that I should be getting compensated for, whatever the case is. And I'm going to try to make decisions accordingly and use wisdom, right, and knowledge and things of that nature. So it's just we need to put more value in the things of God, right? We need to. That's what I'm receiving overall, y'all. Let's put more value into the treasure of Zion, right? The treasures of heaven, salvation, wisdom, knowledge, and the fear of the Lord. That's what it says. Is Zion's treasure. These things are treasure at the end of the day. But anyway, let's keep going. So then we got James 5:1-3. Now listen, y'all. On one hand, I came across, it was just one of the verses that stood out to me, and I decided to go deeper. And as I went deeper, I was going to just put this in the go deeper section for you all to read. But on one hand, I was like, it might be important for me to share this section because it might be pulp and stuff, and it might be, but it shows us what the alternative is. It's a reminder of what the alternative is. So let's just go. Let's read it. Here it is, James 5:1-3. It says, or 1-3. Go to now, ye rich men, weep and howl for your miseries that shall come upon you. Your riches are corrupted, and your garments are moth-eaten. Your gold and silver is cankered, and the rust of them shall be a witness against you, and shall eat your flesh as it were fire. Ye have heaped treasure together for the last days. Friends, that is what happens when you just build wealth for yourself. At the end of the day, just a nice little reminder, we can't take it with us. At the end of the day, like, I have no clue what my grandfather, for example, when he bought all that land, what his vision was for it. I don't think it was the vision that has come. I mean, there has been a little bit of conflict within the family about it and things of that nature. Like I said, I won't get too deep into everything, but I think it's important to talk about that, again, that probably wasn't his intention, right? When he bought all the land, right, he probably didn't think that, I want this thing to be a point of contention between my children. You know what I mean? Like, and things of that nature, right? And again, as somebody that has, again, reaped the benefit of his labor, again, I want to honor him with it, right? And like I said, I want to be a good steward over it and things of that nature. And so I'm grateful, right, for it. But at the end of the day, it's something that he has left behind, right? He could not take it with him in the next life, right? And I hope that he's smiling on me, and proud of me with the wisdom and knowledge and whatnot, and that I'm trying to, gather and bestow and whatnot, and again, honor him and the legacy that he has left and things of that nature. So much so that hopefully, beyond me, everything you guys see me doing and whatnot, hopefully will continue on. And the legacy will continue with my son and whoever else comes from me and my husband and things of that nature. Like, at the end of the day, there's nothing wrong with, I guess, securing bags, making sure there's generational wealth and things of that nature. But at the same time, we need to just put a little bit more value in the things of God. And if you try to be a treasure hunter, I hope these verses encourage you and inspire you, because, that's the juice, y'all. That's the juice. Now, listen, if I needed confirmation, which I didn't, but if I did, I find it very interesting that the Bible verse of the day is pretty much reiterating this whole thing, and it's one of the verses that I already shared with you guys. It's Matthew 6:19. It says, "Lay not up for yourselves treasures upon earth, where moth and rust doth corrupt, and where thieves break through and steal." Friends, I hope you all enjoyed this juice this morning. Thank you so much for listening to God, Sex, and Love, your daily dose of inspiration, the juice. I pray you guys can go forth and have a wonderful day, and I look forward to talking to you all tomorrow, if the Lord's will. Bye-bye.
Hey y'all, I'm Nyla O'Neal with Anchor Phlebotomy Institute. We're located at 737 South Hill Street in Griffin, Georgia. Look, this program was birthed out of a will to help and push you closer to your dream, customizing each and every learning path for each and every student, giving you hands-on education with myself and other teammates. We're here to help you and drive you to be the best version of yourself. Look, we're a 12-week program, and it will be vigorous, but it will be worth the work. Put the work in, you will see it in the end. We are dedicated to seeing you not only finish our program, but to get certified. We are an accredited school through the National Phlebotomy Solutions, and we are so ready to meet each and every one of you. Contact us today.